Hello students, in this lecture we are going to start a new course which is partial differential equations. Now in partial differential equation there are two units in our syllabus. First unit is ordinary differential equations in more than two variables. In that unit you will learn first surface and curves in three dimension. Second, simultaneous differential equations of the form first order and first degree. Next we'll see methods of solution of the form dx by p equal to dy upon q is equal to dz upon r. Next we'll see the orthogonal trajectories of system of curves on a surface, and next we'll see the affine differential forms and its equations, and last point for unit 1 which is solution of affine differential equations in three variables. Okay, and in next unit second, which is first order partial differential equations, so in that unit we'll see genesis of first order partial differential equation. Next point, classification of an integrals. Third one, in linear equations of the first order. Fourth point, we'll see Pfaffian differential equations, and next point we'll see the compatible systems, Charpit's method, Jacobi's methods, and integral surfaces through a given curves, and last point is quasi-linear equations. Now we have given the textbook for unit 1 is Ian Snedden for elements of partial differential equations, and for unit 2 we have given the textbook which is T. Amarnath, an elementary course in partial differential equation. Now we will start our first unit which is ordinary differential equation in more than two variables. In this unit we will see the first point which is surfaces and curves in three dimension. Now in rectangular Cartesian coordinates xyz, so there are three variables, so we will get three dimensional space. Okay, so the single relation of the type which is the equation of the type f of xyz is equal to 0, so call this as equation 1. So this equation is called equation of surface. To demonstrate this, suppose a point xyz satisfying equation 1, so then there is an increment which is delta x, delta y, delta z in xyz are related by the relation. So this function is differentiable by xyz and there is an increment delta x, delta y, delta z, then equation can be written as dA by f by dA by x delta x plus dA by f by dA by y delta y plus dA by f by dA by z delta z is equal to 0. So that two of them can be chosen arbitrarily. In other words, in the neighborhood of point xyz there are points. For x we get the point x plus gamma x plus xi. For point y there is a neighborhood point y plus eta, and for z there is neighborhood z plus tau. So another point I get x plus xi, y plus eta, z plus tau, which again satisfy equation 1, and for which any two of xi, eta, tau are chosen arbitrarily, and third is given by, so this equation can be written as dA by f by dA by x into xi plus dA by f by dA by y into eta plus dA by f by dA by z into tau, which is equal to 0. Now if we consider a relation of the form x is the function of uv, y is again function of uv, and z is again function of uv, then to each pair of values of u and v there corresponds a set of numbers xyz. For u and v we get the numbers x, y, z. Okay, so and hence a point in space, not every point in space corresponding to pair of values of u and v. If we solve first two pairs, so after solving first two pairs we can express u and v as the functions of x and y. So after solving these two equations you will get the value of u in terms of x and y, and value of v again in terms of x and y. So we'll say u as function of xy, which is lambda of xy, and next we'll say v as function of xy, which is mu of uv. So here we get the values of u and v. Now after substituting, what we have to solve it for z. Okay, so substituting this value of u and v in equation 2, which is z is equal to f3 of uv, then we'll get value of z. So substituting this value of u and v in equation this, you will get function z is equal to f3 of lambda of xy comma mu of xy. Now equation 1 expresses that the point xyz. What is equation 1? Equation 1 is f of xyz expresses point xyz lies on surface. So the equation 2 expresses the fact that any point xyz determined from them always lies on a fixed surface. So equation 2 is x is function of uv, y is function of uv, and z is function of x is function of uv, y is function of uv, and z is function of uv. So the equation 2 expresses that fact that any point xyz determined from them always lies on a fixed surface. Okay, hence equation of the type are called parametric equations of the surface. Now we observe that parametric equations of the surface are not unique. Means for any particular surface there may have more than one parametric equations. For example, if we have the spherical surface, so we have two parametric equations. For I will take x is a sin u cos v, y is a sin u sin v, and z is a cos u. So squaring and adding this, you will get the equation x square plus y square plus z square is equal to a square. And another parametric equation, x is a into 1 minus v square upon 1 plus v square into cos u, and y is a into 1 minus v square upon 1 plus v square sin u, and z is twice a v upon 1 plus v square. So squaring and adding this, you will get again same result, x square plus y square plus z square is equal to a square. So these two equations are the parametric equations of spherical surface. X square plus y square plus z square is equal to a square. Okay, a point whose coordinate satisfy equation 1. What is equation 1? Equation 1 is f of xyz is equal to 0, and which lies in the plane z is equal to k, has its coordinates satisfy the equation. So what it satisfy? So it satisfy equation these two simultaneous equation, z is equal to k, and equation 1 which is f of xy and value of z is k. So our equation 1 is f of xyz is equal to 0, but value of z is k. So z is equal to k and f of xy k is equal to 0. So this is equation number 3. So which expresses that the point xyz lies on a curve, which is curve gamma k. Say for example, if S is a sphere with equation x square plus y square plus z square is equal to a square, then point of S with z is equal to k have z is equal to k, and so substitute z is equal to k in this equation. So you will get x square plus y square is equal to a square, and this z square on right side minus z square. So value of z is k. So we will get x square plus y square is equal to a square minus k square, which shows that gamma k is the circle, because x square plus y square is a circle having radius square root a square minus k square. Okay, because equation of circle is x square plus y square is equal to r square. So what is the radius of this circle? So radius of this circle is nothing but square root a square minus k square. So which is, so gamma k is a circle of radius. What is radius? Its radius is a square minus k square under raised to 1 upon 2. So when this number is real, so this number is real if and only if a square minus k square is positive. So this square root is positive. So this square root is real if and only if a square minus k square is positive. That means a square is greater than k square. Means what? We want positive roots. So a must be greater than k. That is k less than a. So which is real if k less than a. As k varies from minus a to a plus a, which each point of the sphere is covered by one such a circle. So we may think of the surface of the sphere as a generated by a circle. Now the curve symbolized by the pair of equations 3. So what is our equation 3? Equation 3 is z is equal to k and f of x, y, k is equal to 0. This is equation number 3. So the curve symbolized by the pair of equation x, y, z, pair of equations 3 can be thought of as a intersection of the surface 1 with the plane z is equal to k. So if a point whose coordinates are x, y, z which lies on surface S1, what we have given? If point whose coordinates are x, y, z lies on surface S1, then there must be a relation of the form. What will we get? So the point having coordinate x, y, z lies on surface S1, then it must satisfy the equation f of x, y, z is equal to 0. Between these coordinates, if the point x, y, z lies on the same surface S2, then its coordinate will satisfy a relation. Say take another relation, j of x, y, z is equal to 0. So the point common to S1 and S1 and S2. Now what we have given? The points common to S1 and S2 means what? Intersection of first surface and second surface. Then will satisfy a pair of equation. First equation f of x, y, z is equal to 0 and j of x, y, z is equal to 0. So call this as equation number 4. Now the two surfaces S1 S2 will be intersect in a curve. So in general, the locus of a point whose coordinates satisfy a pair of relation of the type 4. Now first surface is f of x, y, z is equal to 0. Call this as first surface, and second surface is j of x, y, z is equal to 0. So intersection of this surface, what we get? So first here is sphere and another is plane. So intersection of these two we get here is circle. Again here is one sphere and there is another sphere. So intersection of these two sphere, again we get intersection, which is again circle. Now a curve can be specified by a parametric equation just as a surface. So any three equations of the form, I call x as function of t, y as again another function of t, and z is third f3 of t, means third z is again function of t, in which t is continuous variable, may be regarded as the parametric equations of the curve. If p is any point whose coordinates determined by the equation, which is equation number 5, then we see that p lies on the curve whose equations are. So first equation phi1 of xy is equal to 0 and phi2 of xy is equal to 0. Why this is phi1 of xy equal to 0, phi2 of xy equal to 0? Sorry, here is z. Now phi1 of xy is equal to 0 means what? Solving x is equal to f1 of t and y is equal to f2 of t. So eliminating t from these two equations, we will get the function phi1 of xy is equal to 0. And next we solve equation 1 and 3. So after eliminating t from these two equations, we will get another function phi2 of xz. Okay. So here is mentioned phi1 of xy is equal to 0 is the equation obtained by eliminating t for solving x is equal to f1t and y is equal to f2 of t, and phi2 of xz is the equation for solving first and third for eliminating t. We will get phi2 of xz. So the parameter t to take is the length of the curve. So what is t? T is taken as the length of the curve measured from some fixed point. Okay. In this case, we replace t by some symbol s. If we assume that p is any point on the curve, so we can write it as x is function of s, y is function of s, and z is function of s. Call this as equation number 6, which is characterized by the value s of the arc length. Okay. Then s is the distance p naught p. So I have drawn the figure. So there are x, y, z coordinates. There is some curve. So here is p naught and here is p, and here is small displacement delta s, and here is another point q, and here is delta c. Okay. Now s is the distance p naught to p of p point p from some fixed point p naught measured along the curve. Similarly, if q is the point at a distance delta s, okay, so this distance delta s along the curve from point p, so the distance p naught q will be, so distance p naught q will be, can be recorded as s plus delta s. So here this distance is s and this distance is delta s. So p naught to q has distance s plus delta s, and the corresponding the coordinates of q will be as a consequence. So coordinates of q is nothing but x of s plus delta s, y of s plus delta s, and z of s plus delta s. So the distance delta s is the distance from p to q, okay, measured along the curve, and is therefore generated and is therefore greater than delta c. So the length of the chord pq in any cases as q approaches the point p1, so as q approaches to the point p, the difference delta c minus delta s minus delta c becomes relatively less. Then what we get? So the ratio of delta c upon delta s along limit delta s tends to 0 is equal to 1. Here what we get? So the limit delta s tends to 0, delta c upon delta s is equal to 1. So on the other hand, the direction cosines of the chord PQR. So direction cosines of the chord P and Q. What is direction cosines? So here coordinates of Q are, so what is coordinates of Q? So coordinates of Q are, I will write here, x into s plus delta s, y of s plus delta s, z of s plus delta s. And what is the coordinates of P? P has coordinates. This is the coordinates of Q. Okay. And coordinates of P are x of s, y of s, and z of s. Okay. So what is its direction cosines? So direction cosines will be, so this point minus this. So here x of s plus delta s minus x of s divided by delta c. Next point will be y of s plus delta s minus y of s divided by delta c, and last is z of s plus delta s minus z of s divided by delta c. So this is the direction cosines of the chord PQ. Okay, so this is the direction cosines of the chord PQ, which is this. And by Maclaurin's theorem, by using Maclaurin's theorem, which is x of s plus delta s minus x of s is defined by delta s into dx by ds plus order of delta s square. Now we'll divide both sides by delta c, because what we have the value the direction cosines of the chord PQ are x of s plus delta s minus x of s divided by delta c. But here we have value of x of s plus delta s minus x of s is delta s into dx by ds plus order of delta s square. Now divide both sides by delta c. Then what happen? X of s plus delta s minus x of s divided by delta c is equal to, so take delta s outside in the bracket, so I get delta s upon this delta c into bracket, we get dx by ds plus order of delta s. Okay, so we have three direction cosines. Okay, so from this we get delta s upon delta c into dx by ds plus order of delta s. Similarly for y of s plus delta s minus y of s by delta c, we can write delta s upon delta c dy by dx ds plus order of delta s. And similarly for this last direction cosines, we get delta s upon delta c into delta dz by ds plus order of delta s. Okay, now as what we have given as delta s tends to 0, so this distance, so this is the delta s. So if this distance is 0, then point q is approaches to point p, means what, distance between this point will be 0, means what, point p as we call this as q. Okay, so the point q tends towards the point p and the chord pq takes up the direction to the tangent to the curve at p, and we let delta s tends to 0 in above expression. So what is expression? Limit delta s tends to 0, delta c upon delta s is equal to 1. So taking limit to this expansion, what will happen? So limit here, limit delta s tends to 0, here limit delta s tends to 0, ds delta c upon delta s is equal to 1. So taking limit delta s tends to 0, so limit delta s tends to 0, delta s upon delta c is 1. So and limit delta s tends to 0, this value is becomes 0. So what we get? The direction ratios, we get dx upon ds, dx dy upon ds, and we get last dz upon ds, because limit delta s tends to 0, ds upon dc will be 1. So this is again 1 and this is again 1. So and this value becomes 0. So we get dx upon ds, dy upon ds and dz upon ds. So we get the direction cosines of the tangent to the curve 6 at the point P are dx upon ds, dy upon ds and dz upon ds. So now we shall assume that the curve C is given by the equation 6 lies on the surface S, whose equation is f of xyz is equal to 0. The typical point x of s, y of s, z of s of the curve lies on this surface if f of xy, x of s, y of s and z of s is equal to 0, and if the curve lies entirely on the surface, equation number 9, which is this, will be an identity for all values of s. So differentiating equation 9 with respect to s, we get, so here x, y, z is the function of s and f is function of x, y, z. Okay, remember these things. X, y, z is function of s and f is function of x, y, z. So differentiating, now first differentiate f with respect to x and then we differentiate x with respect to s. So here dA by f by dA by x into dx by ds plus dA by f by dA by y, and y is function of s, so dy by ds plus dA by f by dA by z, because f is function of z, we will get next differentiate z with respect to s, dz upon ds is equal to 0. Call this as equation number 10. Now we using formula equation 8 and equation 10 we see. So what is equation 8? Equation 8 is dx upon s, dy upon s and dz upon ds. Okay, so using 8 and 10 we see that the tangent t to the curve C at the point P is perpendicular to the line whose direction ratios are. So in this figure we see that, so this is sphere S, now this is point P and this is tangent T to the curve C. Okay, so the direction ratios of this line is dA by F by dA by X, dA by F by dA by Y and dA by F by dA by Z. So the curve C is arbitrary except that it passes through the point P and lies on surface S. So it follows that the point the line with direction ratios in equation 11 is perpendicular to the tangent to every curve lying on S and passing through the point P. See this figure, so which lies on surface S and which passes through the point P. Hence the direction, so equation 11, which is dA by F by dA by X, dA by F by dA by Y, dA by F by dA by Z, is the direction of the normal to the surface S at point P. Okay, if the equation of the surface S is of the form Z is equal to F of xy, and if we write it as dA by Z upon dA by X is equal to P and dA by Z upon dA by Y is equal to Q. So we call this some equation, so call this as equation number 12. Then F is F of xy minus Z, we call this as capital F. Okay, capital F is F of xy minus Z. It follows that, so after differentiating it we get Fx is equal to P, Fy is equal to Q and Fz is equal to minus 1. Okay, because after differentiating this, so what is F of xy? So F of xy is nothing but we have taken small f of xy minus z, and what we have given, we have taken dA by Z upon dA by X is P, dA by Z upon dA by Y is Q. Okay, so Z is functions of X and Y. So differentiating this with respect to X, then what will we get? So here we get dA by F upon dA by X, which is equal to, so differentiating it with respect to X, so derivative with respect to X is 0, so we'll get values. So differentiating it with respect to X, so we'll get dA by F by dA by X is equal to dA by Z upon dA by X, and value of dA by Z upon dA by X is P. So we get dA by F by dA by X is equal to P, means what? Fx is equal to P. Similarly differentiate it with respect to Y, so we'll get dA by F upon dA by Y means what? Fy, and dA by Z by dA by Y will be Q, so Fy is equal to Q. Now, so we call this equation like this, capital F is equal to F of xy minus Z. Okay, so differentiating it with respect to Z, so this is functions of xy. Okay, so this will be 0, so Fz will be minus 1. So it follows that Fx is equal to P, Fy is equal to Q, Fz is equal to minus 1, and the direction cosines of the normal to the surface at the point xyz are. So direction cosines of the normal to the surface at the point xyz. What is formula for direction cosines? So direction cosines is, so suppose x, y, z, suppose you have x, y, z are direction ratios, then its direction cosines is defined by x, y, z upon square root of x square plus y square plus z square. Okay, so this is the formula to calculate direction cosines. So here, what are the direction ratios here? P, Q and minus 1 are the direction ratios. So from that we have to calculate its direction cosines. So by using formula here, point is PQ minus 1. So PQ minus 1 divided by square root P square plus Q square plus 1. Okay, so call this as equation number 13. So the equation number, so what is our equation number 8? So the equation 8 gives the direction cosines of the tangent to the curve whose equations are of the form equation 6. So equation 8 is dx upon ds, dy upon ds and dz upon ds, and equation 6 is x is x of s, y is equal to y of s and z is equal to z of s. Okay, so here equation 8 gives direction cosines of the tangent to the curve whose equations are of the form equation 6, x is equal to x of s, y is equal to y of s and z is equal to z of s. Now the equation of the tangent plane, so I call this first plane pi1 at the point P is xyz to the surface S1 whose equation is f of xyz is equal to 0 is, so equation of tangent plane is x minus x divided by x plus y minus y divided by y plus z minus small z divided by z is equal to 0. Call this as equation number 14, where this capital X, Y and Z are the coordinates of any other point of the tangent plane. Okay. Similarly, the equation of the tangent plane at second plane pi2 at point P to the surface S2 whose equation is, I call this as second equation, g of xyz is equal to 0. So its equation will be x minus x into d by g by x plus y minus y d by g by y plus z minus z d by g by z, which is equal to 0. Call this as equation number 15. So the intersection L of the two planes pi1 and pi2 is the tangent at P to the curve C, which is the intersection of the surface S1 and S2. It follows from equation 14 and 15. So here is 14 equation and here is 15 equation, that the equation of the line L are. Now let's see the graph. So this is the first plane and this is another plane. So this is the intersection of these two planes, which is a line. So there is a tangent, there is a point P whose tangent is this curve. Okay, so this is the surface 2, this is the surface 1. Now we have to solve these two equations 14 and 15 by using Cramer's rule. Now we will solve it by using the formula. Now we have to solve these two equations, so we can write it as x minus x upon, so we have to solve this. We take the coefficient of these two equations, so we can write d by y and d by z, and here is, so we leave this row. Okay, so I can write coefficient of this, so d by y, d by here d by g by d by y, and here is d by z, and here is d by g by z, which is equal to, next y minus y, which is equal to, so here is minus sign. So first we'll write, so leave this column, so we'll write first d by f by d by z, d by g by d by z, and then we write this d by f by d by x and d by g by d by x. Okay, and which is equal to, last to find out z minus small z upon, so we leave this column, so write down the coefficient of x minus x, which is d by x upon, here is d by g upon d by x, and here d by y, here d by g by d by y. Okay, so find out the determinant. So here, after solving its determinant, you will get x minus x upon, so solving determinant, we will get d by y into d by g by z minus d by z into d by g by y. Okay, which is equal to, next y minus y divided by d by g by d by z into d by g by x minus d by x into d by g by z, and last z by minus z, which is divided by dA by f by dA by x into dA by g by dA by y minus dA by f by dA by y into dA by g by dA by x. So call this as equation number 16. So in other words, the direction ratios of the line L will be, so by it can be written as Jacobian. So this term can be written as Jacobian of fg upon dA of fg upon dA of yz, comma, so this term can be expressed as dA of fg upon dA by zx, and this term can be written as dA by fg upon dA by xy. So this is the direction ratios of line L. Okay, here value of dA by fg by dA by g, dA by fg by dA by yz is dA by f by dA by y and into dA by g by dA by z minus dA by f by dA by z into dA by g by dA by y, or dA by fg by dA by yz can be expressed as these terms. dA by fg by dA by zx can be expressed by these terms, and dA by fg by dA by xy is dA by f by dA by x, dA by g by dA by x, and here dA by f by dA by y, dA by g by dA by y. Now we will see the example. Find out direction ratios. So we have given the direction cosines of the tangent at the point xyz to the conic ax square plus by square plus cz square is equal to 1, and another plane x plus y plus z is equal to 1 are proportional to the equation by minus cz, comma cz minus ax, and comma ax minus by. So what we have given? We have given two curves. Here first equation is f of xyz is x square plus by square plus cz square minus 1, and second equation g is x plus y plus z minus 1. Okay, now we have to show that its proportion will be by minus cz, cz minus ax, and ax minus by. Okay, so let's see. We have to find out the values of dA by fg by dA by yz. Next we have to calculate values of dA by fg by dA by zx. Next to calculate values of dA by fg by dA by xy. So let's see. So what is value of dA by fg? dA by fg by dA by, first find out yz. Okay, yz. So what is our formula? So the formula is, so we have the functions. First here is dA by f by, first differentiate with respect to y, so dA by f by dA by y, and then dA by g by dA by y. Next here is again function of f upon its derivative with respect to z, dA by z, and dA by g upon dA by z. So which is equal to, so what is our function f? F derivative of f with respect to x, with respect to y is twice by. Derivative of f with respect to z is twice cz. Next derivative of g, value of g is xyz minus 1. So derivative of g with respect to y is 1, and derivative of g with respect to z is again 1. So taking determinant we will get twice by minus twice cz. So taking 2 outside, so by minus cz. Okay, similarly, so we get the first proportion by minus cz. Similarly, we will take dA by fg by dA by yz. So by using same formula we get, so dA by fg by dA by zx. So first what will we do? We take derivative of f, partial derivative of f with respect to z, and partial derivative of g with respect to z. Okay, next partial derivative of f with respect to x, partial derivative of g with respect to x. So we will get derivative of f with respect to z is twice cx, twice cz, and derivative of f with respect to x is twice x, and derivative of g with respect to z is 1, derivative of g with respect to 1 is derivative of g with respect to x is 1. So its determinant will be twice cz minus ax. Okay, so we get second proportion. And similarly, derivative of fg with respect to xy is equal to, so we'll take derivative of f with respect to x, and here is derivative of f derivative of g with respect to x, and next here we have to find derivative of f with respect to y, and here we have to write derivative of g with respect to y. So we get ratio 2 times ax minus by. So first we get by minus cz, this, next we get cz minus x, and next we get x minus by. Okay, so hence the conic x square plus by square plus cz square minus 1 and another x plus y plus z minus 1 are proportion to the direction ratios, which is by minus cz, cz minus by, and ax minus by. Okay, we will stop here. In next lecture, we will see methods of solutions of the form dx upon p equal to dy upon q is equal to dz upon r. Thank you.